Generally speaking, our city governments are weak. They generally do very little about the actual urban infrastructure, the urban environment. Why is that? Because we have deliberately weakened them. As national governments, we have talked decentralization a lot, but we haven't decentralized. We have actually taken functions away from local government. My position generally is that national governments should reverse that. They should strengthen your city governments, because a city economy where the city population is 1 million or 2 million or whatever, and you have a city economy of so many million US dollars, it's just too big and too complicated to try and run from national level. But then let me also say city governments have to improve their own performance. And there's a long list of built environment services, and these are the heavy ones: the roads, the stormwater drain, the refuse collection, street sweeping, water and sanitation, electricity, traffic lights, emergency, ambulance and fire. I guess every city needs that. How many city governments do that? It's way beyond what we're talking about, way beyond the sort of resources which our administrations can assemble. So that's a bit of a background about why we want to improve our revenue, I guess. South African cities are billing about 6% of their economies. So the size of your economy is your tax base. In many of our other cities, the invoicing, these little red bars, it's not even 1%, which would be there. It's about 0.5%, 0.5% to 0.25%. And it's because our powers of taxation, our powers of collecting revenue have been curtailed. But it's also because a lot of people are escaping the net. There's a relationship between how much you charge and how much you deliver. If the tariffs are ridiculous compared to the service, every citizen is going to resist. The point is, taxes and tariffs are linked to services and spending. Services and spending are linked to the revenue administration. The revenue administration is linked to the taxes and tariffs, and in the middle of it is the city accountability. The city accountability to taxpayers and to residents for the services that are delivered. And again, there's no decision making at city level. Very often, again, there are a couple of exceptions, I know this, but you're going to have to get your property tax rate approved in national parliament. National Parliament's got no interest in increasing your taxes for you, so they don't. And so it goes on for year after year with no increase in taxes. By fighting the political battle and make sure you increase your tariffs every year, suddenly you can finance about 1/3 of your infrastructure need. Revenue administration. So here's the same thing. When was the last valuation roll? I would say there's a lot of properties which are not on the roll for many reasons. The building was built after the valuation roll was last done, or let's talk about corruption and bribery and so on. Residents of your city may have paid an official to keep your property off the roll. Because usually people say, but people are poor. And of course they are poor. Most of them are poor. And yet, I bet you, there are wealthier people who live in fancier houses, who've got high income, who are escaping your taxes. And an effort to close that gap, actually collect all the money you're entitled to collect right now, that is probably your quickest way of getting the increase in income. Many of our cities are right now growing very fast. You've actually got economic growth. So you should be able to tax more, get more tax revenue from a growing economy. But politicians leading the process of saying to the residents and the economy of your city, the businesses, that we need to provide XYZ services, we've got a turnaround plan, we've delivered certain things already, look, I can show them to you, we're going to have to charge you more. Invest some of the extra cash. Because you're making revenue administration improvements, you're starting to get extra cash. That extra cash goes into extra service delivery improvements. So taxpayers are getting more willing to pay because they start seeing some results. But externally, even after you're sorting yourself out, externally, our relationship with national governments is often weak also. National, we're at the bottom of the pile. National tries to tell us what to do. They're not really understanding what they're supposed to be telling us to do. All of this stuff. And they don't give us enough grants. And if they run out of money, they pull the grants straight away. All of that. So it's about a relationship with national and various aspects of intergovernmental fiscal relations. You need to actually persuade your national government that when you ask for a tariff increase, they give it to you. And you must take the political heat for it. I think that's it. Thanks very much.